"I'm sorry, my love, but he's gone," were the words that completely shattered my world. William was born on my birthday, and he was a very happy, vibrant and healthy little boy. He developed absolutely perfectly well. When he was about 9-10 months old, he developed a fairly chesty cough, and we left it for a couple of days. You know, kids have coughs and colds, and we didn't want to bombard the doctor with something that was going to be a simple sniffle. But after about 3 or 4 days, it was still persisting. So I thought, no, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to make sure. So we went to the doctor, and we were told that it was a viral infection, and he had started nursery, and kids pick up sniffles and colds and coughs and you know, just to power through. So we took him home. Over the next 6-7 weeks, William's cough persisted. It didn't get any better. We went back to the doctors 4 or 5 times during this period in A&E once. William had begun to vomit. Occasionally it would be up to 10 times a day. And every time we were told that this was entirely normal. He'd started to lose weight, and that was attributed to him being more mobile, which we now know to be a myth. Babies don't lose weight when they become more mobile. On the 12th of December 2014, William was at nursery. We had a phone call from them to say that he had been a little bit under the weather. They'd given him some Calpol because he had begun a fever. It hadn't helped. He'd been put down to have a nap, and he woke up and his fever had actually got worse. We immediately picked him up and made an appointment with the emergency doctor. Upon arriving at the doctor's, William was really not with it. His eyes were quite glazed, and his temperature was now 40.1. William was examined by the doctor, and his ears were found to be perfectly clear. His chest was found to be perfectly clear. And we were told that William just had a viral infection, and it was likely his teeth were giving him a little bit of grief, and to go home and give him plenty of fluids and Calpol and rest. Upon leaving, we asked what we should do if it were to get worse. What is worse? When is worse? And we were told, don't worry, it's nothing grisly. So we took William home, and he went to bed, and during the evening he woke a few times. We gave him more Calpol. I had to soothe him back to sleep. On the Saturday morning, he didn't really seem any better. He was now more lethargic. You know, he hadn't eaten now for over 24 hours. That afternoon, I contacted the 111 service because he'd started to vomit green bile. And by now his temperature was 35. I didn't know that a low temperature was dangerous. I hadn't been told that a low temperature was dangerous, only that a high temperature. We went through all of William's symptoms, the fact that he wasn't really passing urine, that he was vomiting, that his skin was pale, he was clammy, he was cold. There had been a significant drop in temperature. William's assessment was found that it was a non-emergency, and that we were to just continue with the fluids and the Calpol and the rest. I was still concerned. William, it just wasn't right. Something wasn't right. So we went to the out-of-hours doctor, and despite the examination the day before, explaining about everything, and William's now current presentation, the doctor told us that it was nothing to worry about, and that we should just put William to bed. It was likely a viral infection, that he will get better in 24 hours. It's probably a self-limiting issue. So we put William to bed. During the night, I checked on him a couple of times, and he was sleeping, and he had a little drink at 5:30 in the morning and went straight back to sleep. I woke in the morning, and we had a little baby monitor, and I could see that William appeared to be sleeping. I got up and faffed about a little bit for 5 minutes and thought, I'm going to go and check on him now. He seems a bit quiet. And I went into his bedroom, and I didn't have my glasses on, and we have blackout blinds, so I couldn't really see very much. And I went over to his cot and I stroked his cheek, and his cheek was warm, but he didn't move. I bent down and put my arm through the bars of the cot and stroked his arm, which was quite cool to the touch. and he didn't move, and I stroked his side and he was stiff. I immediately opened the curtains and I could see that William had passed away. I immediately began screaming and I ran to get the phone for an ambulance. I took William out of his cot and he remained in the position that he had died in. And I immediately started CPR, which was difficult because I couldn't open his mouth to give him any rescue breaths. Under 4 minutes it took for the ambulance to arrive, and after another 3 minutes, William was pronounced dead. "I'm sorry, my love, but he's gone," were the words that completely shattered my world. There was nothing that I could do, nothing that they could do, and I didn't know why. We didn't know why. Why was he dead? Why hadn't anyone done anything? It was just a viral infection. William was conveyed to hospital where they examined him, and later that afternoon I carried my son and I handed him over to a mortician, and that was the last time that he was really mine. It took 6 weeks for the death certificate to arrive. We didn't really receive a death certificate. It was a preliminary death certificate that said that William had passed away of sepsis. I said to Paul, William's dad, I said, "Oh, that must be so rare. I've not heard of that." And immediately we took to Google, as you do, and I looked at it and I thought, my goodness, it's the UK's second biggest killer. Why don't I know about this? Why wasn't I told about this? Why didn't the doctor think about this? And immediately the questions started happening. It transpired that on the Friday that we took William to the doctors and he was examined, they missed the heavy inner and outer growth ear infection. They missed that William had a collapsed lung. They missed 200 mils of fluid in his chest. They didn't record his temperature. They didn't take his blood pressure. They didn't take his heart rate. It was found that if all these things had been taken, that William would have raised red flags and William would have been conveyed immediately to hospital and William's life would have been saved. But that doctor wasn't thinking sepsis. And because he wasn't thinking sepsis, he didn't tell me about sepsis. I didn't know what to look out for. I didn't know that a low temperature was dangerous. None of the chronology of events that had happened leading to William's death were looked at as a group or, a chronology. They were looked at isolated incidents as singular events. No one thought, this lady's been in 4 times now about this cough and this vomiting. What could be going on? And it transpired that William had had a chest infection that gave way to pneumonia, and this caused the overwhelming infection of his lung and sepsis. How many more lives can we save from something that, if caught early enough, is fairly easy to treat with antibiotics and fluids and perhaps not even a hospital admission?